Thunderleaf friends. Appreciate you joining me on another Wednesday episode of Donnie Does It Painting Edition. So, just looking for a little hour and a half in our week to relax, unwind, hang out a little bit, do some intentional time instead of just, watching TV, or maybe you are watching TV if you're watching this, hopefully. But let's do something as well at the same time. Have a intentional hour and a half here in the middle of our week to just do something we enjoy and free for stress. So, welcome back. If you haven't liked, subscribed, or followed yet, please do. We've got all sorts of great content here on Thunderleaf Games, including later tonight, Ray's Rave Reviews, where you're gonna get to watch Greg struggle through some more of Dark Souls and just have fun. Yeah, so we all enjoy hanging out with people in chat during that. And then, of course, Mondays have our flagship show. Right now we're running Humblewood, a little darker, cartoony animal D&D game we're playing. And then Fridays we've got some great gaming tips coming out. So keep tuned and subscribe and hit that bell so you get some reminders when we're on. So we've been working on the Dragonborn statuette here, and we're coming along really well. We're in the final steps. I've got some highlighting to do, bring some white out on the teeth, probably do a little bit more work on the red and this yellow. I'll be honest, I still don't love the yellow. It looks better on the camera than it does in person, I think. Otherwise, today, though, we're going to take on a new project for me, something I haven't done before, which is doing some marbling effect around the base here. So we're going to give that a try and see how it goes for us today. So wish me luck, stream. Let's make sure I do have chat up here as well so I can see that. We've got to thank Greg as well here, taking a little time to produce the show for me, because he is the best at that, and I am easily distracted and will completely ignore it while I do this. Greg, do I need to turn my camera or some? I'm seeing a green block on top of things. I'm probably supposed to turn it, right? Ah, beautiful. That's why Greg's the boss. All right, so yeah, little work on the base here today. Bring out those highlights or that style of stone painting to make it look very unique. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So as always, we've got the wet palette ready to go. Got our forbidden coffee mug. Don't drink that. That is definitely built up paint in the bottom of that. We're gonna just kind of shift that a little bit. And of course, I always have my brush soap at hand so that we keep the paintbrush in good shape going forward. Definitely an easy step. You spend $5 on that brush soap, and then don't buy paintbrushes again for a long time. Unless you just happen to walk by one and decide must have that paintbrush. Perfectly acceptable reason to buy a new paintbrush. Did a base coat of a dark gray, and we did a heavy wash of black shade, which is a very translucent liquidy paint that just kind of slides into the recesses of the model, and it's basically a cheat code for getting good painting. So if you're just starting out, Shades are wonderful. You just paint your base color, add that shade, it slides into all the lowest bits of the model, and just gives you those shadows you're looking for without really any effort or skill at all. And I actually forgot the technique we're trying here. So we're going to do something called stippling, which is a new technique for me. So it's gonna be a little bit like dry brushing, except for instead of brushing, we're just gonna dab the paintbrush. So start with a little bit of that. That is pretty much exactly the same color. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna mix a lighter shade here with the darker shade, get somewhere in between. So, who's watching here today? Everybody having a good Wednesday? Let us know what your day's been like here in chat. If you're watching this later, thank you, and drop us a comment. We want you to have a good day, even if it's not today. Try and get it somewhat even, but is the music coming through for everybody? Let's take a look here. Yep, as usual, it's just that I'm not tuned into the same stream. So let's just turn on a little bit of what you're listening to. Good to know. Okay. Greg's talking in my ear, everybody, saying very strange things. You wouldn't believe it. Hey, it's the one, the only event award-winning painter, Binary. Welcome to chat, friend. Multi-award winning, excuse me. All that matters is the bling, not how you got it, right? No, Binary is definitely one of those people who help inspire me to paint. They do some great work. They're a similar spot as me in the journey where they've transitioned into painting more and more, and that's where you get the enjoyment from it. And yeah, he did a great job and won himself an award this last weekend for Best Painted Army. All right, so we went one layer lighter. We're going to go lighter yet. Oh, so I just get white paint everywhere. Just so good at that. Kind of get a better look at what we're doing here, hopefully. So just jamming that brush into the model. Not too hard. I took most of the paint off the brush. It's just leaving a nice textured look on the model. It's even, but not smooth. So you can really see different colors of gray in there, just like you would in painted stone, hopefully. How's it going, ALC? Glad you could join us today. Is anybody else doing any hobby projects themselves today as well, watching, or just taking a minute to relax? Mine seem to have stopped again, so let's bring those back. I'm so bad about that. So yeah, I fortunately have Greg to yell at me now when I inevitably bring my arms back into. I found out it has an actual name. It's called the Golden Triangle of painting. If you pinch your elbows right into your ribs and hands touching each other real close, and just helps to keep the model where you want it. 'Cause yeah, as always with hobbying, we're going to do it a little earlier than I usually do. We're going to take a moment, stretch that back, let our hands and eyes focus a little different. You don't want to find yourself an hour and a half in, and then all of a sudden realize you've been sitting in the shape of a C for about an hour and a half. 2020 rule. What is the 2020 rule? Other than I think wear a mask, that's got to be involved, right? So the brush that I'm just destroying. If you're gonna try something like this, use a brush you do not care about. So this is actually a dry brush from Army Painter, and it is purely meant to be abused. You're gonna jam thing into the paint, smash it into your paper towel, jab at your model. So yeah, doesn't really matter what happens to it. Don't do that with your good brush. So that's also another reason. Even when a brush gets bad, don't throw it away. I've got just a handful of old, terrible brushes sitting by. There's a lot of things you'll do that you're like, well, that's going to ruin my brush. And that's fine. Use a ruined brush. All right, so I'm really liking the texture in that gray. It's really got a layer to it. And then Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay. I've not heard that one before, but makes sense. So I'm going to use a pretty fine brush here now. Get a little bit of a black here. This happens to be a black with just a little bit of gray to it. And we're going to work up from this point. So this will give us our first start of some of those lines that you see on a model, on a marble slab. Then we'll define those a little bit better at some point, a little less at others. That paint is flowing really well off the brush here while we do these. So when you're wanting fine lines, you need to be very aware of how much paint you have on the brush, as well as that it's not too much liquid, so that it goes exactly where you want it. That's probably the hardest thing is with miniature painting is when you get off of the like modeled aspects. You're trying to do something additive to the work like this. It's not my strong suit. So this is a, like I said, a new technique for me. So don't be afraid to try new things. Bring up some kind of visual here to just help myself look at this. Marble slab. Of course, it brings up like the world's most intricate and beautiful marble slabs, but that's okay. They do kind of spider web almost, so I was kind of keeping them apart, but it looks like it's almost better to have these almost operating like a crack system where you're gonna come in and meet each other. Have fun there, Binary, with D&D. I wish your character a swift and gruesome death, because I know that's what you really miss out of D&D. Good. Okay. May have found something that actually looks good on stream in terms of how I hold this thing. Actually look better on stream, I think, than in person. That's not usually the case, I don't think. So how are we going into Dark Souls this evening there, producer Greg? You ready? I heard you pushed Ray off a mountain last night in Peak to make up for making you play Dark Souls. That looks pretty surprisingly good. Really happy with that. All right, so we're going to add just a couple of really black lines in the grays that we just paint on there, so that'll add a little bit of depth to those. That's a chunky paint too. I have a critic sitting next to me who's not very pleased with my choice to play with a dragon instead of his duck. Well, it's not perfect, but it's the first time I've tried this, and it's not bad. I'm going in with a little bit of, it's called Nuln oil. It's a black shade. And I'm just adding it in the changes in height of the model to add a little bit more definition to those transitions. I kind of lost that when doing the stipling. Caught it that time. Planting your elbows on the table too. Sometimes steady that hand. I think my favorite adage like that I've been trying to remember is don't let perfect be the enemy of good. always a quality line to remember there. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Right. Yeah, just that little ring of dark color in that edge there really, really helps. Problem is I'm usually using that line after I finish eating a like whole pizza to myself. It shouldn't be encouraging, but I'm proud of myself anyways. Let's see if I can do this on stream here. Wait, you can see. So I'm trying to hit these details on here just to really pick them out. So I'm holding my brush pretty sideways to the model, just trying to catch the edge of the raised little detail. You need to go with a brighter color. So actually probably the best thing I can do for my painting and posture is you yelling at me every time I come off of stream, because I have to sit with good posture to keep it here. I'm nowhere near stream. There we go. Definitely doing these favors. Now I can actually see them. So we're getting close to finishing this model, which still surprised me that I feel like it's came along pretty quick. I've not worked on this other than being on stream, so I've got to witness the whole process, but we're starting to look at what to do next. And we are having a little internal consult on what to do, but I'm leaning towards one of the floral dragon miniatures. So it's from Hit Point Press. They made a D&D 5th edition module and came out with some great models for it. They're who make our Humblewood series or campaign setting that we're exploring. But there are some really cool ones, but we're looking at I'm particularly appealed by the water lily dragon, which is like an crocodile or alligator with lily pads growing all over it. Let's see if I can get that to focus up close. Yeah, that looks like a pretty cool little plinth. I'm happy with that. It's not the focus of the model, so, you know, doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so you have some more touch up to do in the red, unfortunately. I do have a little bit to clean up on the brass colors around the model as well. I'm just a little torn on what to do with the red. I'm considering doing a dry brushing up here to really get it to pop. We're gonna risk it. It's terrible. I think I forgot to buy a paint or bought the wrong one. One of the two. Well, we didn't make bold enough decisions, I don't think, there. Feeling good about this decision. That red suddenly got vibrant. I love it. Glad Greg agrees. That I just love that dark to bright. Like, oof, that's what we're going for. Oh yeah, proof. Definitely did buy the wrong paint because I have two of the color I have a bunch of. Although on camera it probably looks almost the same. No, not quite. You can see the difference. I can see the difference. So the scales were pretty tricky. They were so I did a very dark blue. Well, it was a bluish gray. So we started with that color blue, and then we went through and added a dark color shade into them, and then added a very watered down purple, and then I kind of purposely added those in the crevices and deep parts of the scales. And then from there, I went back and added a very bright color blue all along the edges, giving that nice depth of color on there. I'd actually go the opposite way on the red underneath the scarf and see if we can actually darken that up more. Ooh, red makes a hot mess of this though. But we're gonna fix that just like that. Always make sure you get all the paint out of your brush. That's the other key to brush longevity. Don't get too much paint deep in the bristles. And even if you do, don't let it dry there. Get it cleaned out. Yeah, so that's I mean I definitely can. So we've got the Citadel line of paints. This one is the War Paints Fanatic by Army Painter. And the other ones I commonly use in are Army Painter Speed Paints. They're very liquid, quick go on, kind of have that shading almost to them already. They're definitely a different kind of paint. Great for certain purposes. That's what I did initially on the reds. But you probably want to take it one step further. Welcome, Sunshine. Good to see ya. I think I saw Jenny. Oh, yeah, there's Jenny there. Welcome, Jenny. Just realized I forgot the entire back of the cloak, so back to messing up that brush I just finished cleaning, unfortunately. we can good chance to look at that transition again. So that's starting point, real just quick. We're gonna retire that red paintbrush, red stained paper towel. All right, so let's make some teeth pop a little bit here. I'm gonna go back to that white we were using for edge highlighting down below. I'm gonna take this boy to the dentist. I'm trying not to cover up all of the lower colors. Just hitting kind of the sharpest points of the tooth. Little white where I didn't want it. Fix that up, but More tiny little white highlights in here. Finish off those bone details. We are getting really close. I'm fixing up just some little details and things like that. Just about where I want to be with this. Feeling pretty good. Certainly there's those that could do this better, but it's definitely one of my better painted models. Give me just a moment. I think I forgot to plug my phone in, and that camera just went dead. We'll get that back in just a moment. Take a minute here and just relax my back and hang with you, chat. So if you are new to the channel, welcome, of course, and do make sure to check out Rave Reviews. I always want to call it Ray's Rave Reviews just to make it extra difficult. But coming up at 9 Eastern tonight. A little tradition Me and my fiance, we love to tune in. We sit on chat, hang out with the group, and a lot of fun. I don't think either one of us care about Dark Souls a bit, but we've definitely enjoyed hanging out, watching Greg learn to play the game, and all right, come on, give us power. All right, phone's booting back on here. Yeah, I really can't believe for how old of a game it is. It is pretty nice looking, very creative monsters. I don't know if the later ones, 2 and 3, get any better looking, but I think my camera got a little jankified when unfortunately I lost connection there. Making Greg's producing job extra hard today. All right, getting the phone back connected here. Give you all something to watch. Just want to remind you all that this is a non-professional stream where we act professional and do wonderful things like don't plug in our technology. Sorry, Greg. Got us back on track just like that. Why I'm doing this with a terrible brush. Trying to get that yellow detail just right where I like it. I also didn't clean a couple brushes, so doing some bad things. You can all hear my very sassy dog in the background. He's upset at me because the cat is between him and the duck toy. He is an 80-pound shepherd at his peak and probably about 70 pounds now, but 65, 70, and he is bullied by the 5 to 10-pound cats. get it. One-year-old cats, I tell you, they are terrorists. Like, not afraid of nothing. Our little 1-year-old cat definitely rules the house already. Feeling pretty good about this, chat. I don't know how much more I've got left in it. Take you on a little journey here. Tilt that a little bit. Oh, I messed things up, Greg. No, it's hard to get. Team's just not so good at focusing on macro detail, unfortunately. But hopefully not mess up the camera again for Greg. So just learned why I should lock my orientation there, or while I'm doing this. Well, I think I'm ready to call that one done. What do you all think? Anybody spot anything there that I'm missing? I'm pretty. Oh, I realize there is something. We got the little gold doodads around the base. We'll do those real quick. It didn't look bad, but I just feel like something a little different there would look good. little splash of color. Almost kind of like they were painted gold, but most part it's kind of worn away or filled with dirt. Got a thin gold, just little dab on the tops. I would 100% do that too, though. My mom, for I think it was her 60th birthday, made her and my dad go skydiving. A little detail, but you gotta say that really pops. We really need binary here. I'm sure he knows a metal band that is really just screaming like lo-fi metal or something. All right, chat. So I think I've got to do a little 3D printing between now and next week. I think we're going to bring a floral dragon project to next week because I think that this is going to be called finished and just in time. So I think that's what, 4 sessions to get through this entire bust. That's really good. It's amazing what I can do when I actually focus. So 6 hours. So I mean, that's a decent amount of time put in, but yeah, that's really great. I'm really happy with that. So I'll put out a post later today with some final pictures. I'll actually get out the light box and get some good quality images of it, and we'll share those a little bit later. In the meantime, just a last reminder here. We're going to wrap up just a couple minutes early, but make sure to subscribe and click that bell. Make sure you get notifications as soon as we go live. We'll be back at 9 with Greg and Ray on Ray's Rave Reviews, and Monday we'll be continuing Humblewood. So come check that out as we see what trouble is brewing in the forest, and if our fine heroes can generate a nice little rebellion and overthrow the monarchy or the autocracy, whatever it is. And then last but certainly not least, we'll have another great tips video coming out Friday from Greg, and hopefully some others of us soon if we can all get motivated and contribute, unlike Greg, who's all over it. But yeah, thank you all for being here. I hope you had a relaxing Wednesday afternoon here, and we'll just coast on through to the end of the week. Thank you, everybody.